Hi, team. Welcome to another week. Finding joy on the journey with Nicole as we really explore this whole thing about well-being. Everybody's talking about it, but how in the world do we do it? And Nicole, you've been a great example to us. You've been honest, you've been vulnerable, you've just been on the journey. And most importantly, you've been committed to this. And I think that's a huge winning strategy is just commit to honoring you, taking care of you, and going for being your best self. So this week, it's all about every week, really our desired outcome of why we're doing this is just to give hope. And so what have you learned this week to really give hope to everybody listening?
So I've learned a few things. So number one, like really what's been eye-opening for me over the course of the last few months, and especially some work this week, which we're going to talk about, is it's all about relationships and experiences. So you can, I can be like, okay, I need to make this achievement, or I need to have this, and everything needs to be perfect. Like I need to have the perfect job. I need to have, the perfect husband. I need to have the perfect child, all these things. And that's not true. Like you're never going to reach a level of perfect. So you have to embrace, and when I say you, I also have to embrace the day-to-day challenges, embrace the relationships that are before me. Like people are put into your life for a reason, whether it's to learn and grow from a difficult situation or learn and grow from a positive situation. There's always something to take away. And I think, we've talked a little bit about that struggle with the relationship connections over COVID. And now I'm really focused hardcore on making sure I'm connecting in a very meaningful way, even if it's small.
Yeah. Well, and Nicole, let's talk about that because that sounds great. And so what's important about everything that we're committed to in our coaching is let's define that so that every person gets to maybe share the same desires as you and share the same words as you, and how we define it can be really different. So when you're being intentional about those relationships and you're saying, I really want to connect, how do you measure whether you've made that connection or not?
Okay, that's hard to do because it's different levels, but what being intentional is when you see someone doing something positive, any aspect of your life, you need to tell them, like, thank you, that's great, I learned something from you. And I have not done a great job of really giving that back. And it can be small things, but like you have to, if someone's doing something good, you need to tell them. And it's that simple. And I think you're going to feel an emotional response from giving that valuable feedback back to somebody. They're going to appreciate it. They're going to, it's going to be significant for them. Like, how can you, that's how you know you're making a connection. It's appreciated, right? And if they don't appreciate it the first time, I stay on it because they will eventually.
Get the reps in, practice, practice, practice. So,
right.
It's not easy for everybody to accept a compliment. And so, we never know how it's going to be received, but it's wonderful to give it. And what a great intention to be looking for the good versus looking for the negatives. So many times you're in a place of leadership. You're a mom, you're raising a daughter, you're a high achiever. It would be easy for your brain to always be thinking it's not good enough, it's not perfect, I need it better. And on that like constant striving for better, 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 rather than being present and in the moment and just seeing all the good that's happening and catching it and actually talking about it.
Yeah, and that's really where, that's another, I'm going to shift gears real quick, but we had an aha moment this week where I'm really focused on leading from a point of gratitude, faith, and focus, and not leading from fear. So if you lead from fear, which I am going through this right now, like a lot of things in my life are fear-based, but I'm doing it to myself, right? So I'm recognizing that I did a simple thing this morning, since we're being real time right now. I only had a really short time to get some exercise in this morning. And so I like lift a little bit of weight in my garage, and then I walk a little bit, and then I come back and like around my neighborhood. And I was like, instead of when I'm walking, thinking about all the things I need to do today or what might go wrong in my day, I tried to focus, and this was hard, but achievable, on, hey, what if when I'm walking these, this half mile kind of cool. What if I think about all the things I can be grateful for?
Love it.
So shift, and I realized this morning that I need to practice this more often, so that I'm not going into that focus of, you know, fear and leading with all these things that are going to go wrong or what chaos is going to bring about my day, because this week has been chaos.
Yeah.
But I need to be like, no, I'm really thankful for, you know, these opportunities and experiences that are coming my way.
So we're talking about going from fear to fabulous, really
Fear to
being
fabulous.
intentional. Yep, here we go. Fear to fabulous. Let's make it happen, and grateful for the opportunities. So the great part about going for what we want in life is that if we're not somewhat challenged by it or really stretching us, as much as it's going to be okay for the moment, it can get a little boring. I mean, like,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, so we can be busy, we can have a lot going on, and really putting that focus on, I'm grateful that I have all these opportunities. I'm grateful for the growth. I'm grateful for it. Changes our mindset to really be for us versus focused on the fear of what if this happens. So we've had some great dialogue this week just about really leading from a place of strength versus leading from a place of fear, and talking about our egos. I mean, we've all got them. They can serve us or they can't. We never know how that's going to show up. And so what are some winning strategies that you've learned this week?
So I've really learned that, right? Like, so what we've learned this week is a lot of times a place of fear comes from ego. Like, I'm not going to succeed. I'm going to let somebody down. And I was like, wait a minute, I have an ego. I never thought about myself in that perspective. And that was like, no, right? Panic. But it's true. Like, I don't want to let other people down. And that starts with me. Like, so I'm leading with a place of, oh, I don't want this to go wrong because then I'm going to look bad. Then someone's going to not want to, you know, have a relationship with me or whatever it is. Like, they'll be like, oh, I can't talk to her. And that's not the place that I want or need to be in. So that has been eye-opening. And then I realized, here we go again.
Welcome to more learning. Welcome to the journey. Here we go.
I'm officially a lifelong learner. Like, I am in the club now. It's official. Based on, that was, I believe, on Monday when we learned this little factoid, and I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. So yeah.
So how do you empower your ego to be for you and for the great relationships that you want versus it being an I-centered kind of feeling and focus?
So if I sit here and just focus on me, then I'm going to fall back into that pocket, and that's not what I need to do. So focusing on how I can connect with others to embrace what's going on around me and grow from that, because I can't grow by myself. So I have to seek out and connect and build the relationships across the board, philanthropically, personally, professionally, in order to grow and understand this. I can't get out of it alone. So,
well, a lot more fun when you're alone, because you can convince yourself you've won. You can go up or down, whichever way you want. But the great part about really connecting to relationships and other people is that not only are they for you, but you get to be for them. And so the minute that we're not thinking about ourselves from a perspective of, was I good enough? You know, what are they thinking about me? I don't want to let anybody down. When it turns into this, we've got this, we can do it. How can I support you? And they're reciprocating with, how can I support you? Now, all of a sudden, we've moved from fear to fabulous. We're definitely for each other in such a bigger way. And so as much as this sounds great, like, yes, we want that. Something that's really important is defining how what our definition of success is, what our definition of a 10 life is. That's what's really puts the power back on us, so that regardless of what the situation is or what's happening, we get to use our energy, our emotions to go for what matters to us and connect to that bigger purpose. How are you doing it?
Okay. So, the biggest thing for me is like making sure, and I'm in the beginning of this journey, right? So like, I don't have the right answer right now, and I'm struggling a little bit with this. And I mentioned that this morning, but, I was very blessed to be able to give an employee really good news today. I could have made the decision to text. I could have made the decision to email. I could have made the decision to make a phone call. I made a decision to go find the person physically. We're both safe from a COVID standpoint. Bring that person into my office, deliver the good news. And it was such a 10.
Yeah. Victory dance, baby. Yay.
It was amazing. It was a better response than I expected. It was huge for this person's significance and their purpose. That's what you have to do. You have to seek it. Like, I could have made 5 different other ways of making this happen. Right. And I was like, nope, for me right now, I need it in person. I need to go deliver it. And I know that's not always possible. So like, there's got to be different things, but right now, my winning strategy is to really not hide and hit the easy button, but be more intentional about how I'm going about focusing on growing people around me. Because that grows me too, by the way. I'm focused on growing all these people around me, but it's growing me. There goes my ego.
Power of team. Power of team. Yeah, it's a good thing. So Nicole, when you made that choice, it may not have been the easiest choice, or, it may not have been the most convenient choice. And certainly we've talked about on this journey, you coming into the office, the re-entry, it's easier to stay at home. This is just an example of the purpose being more powerful than the pain, or really, not being the easy way, because the fact that you're choosing to come into the office, this employee is choosing to come into the office, you were intentional about connecting. Most of the time when we're brought into the office, we're thinking, what did I do wrong? What's the negative, right? And like, what a great gift to change that mindset, to be like, wow, we're connecting versus any kind of criticism.
So I'm going to go into this part of the conversation. I said, hey, can I talk to you? Guess what my next word was? It's not bad.
Exactly. Just, you have to set them up for success.
So we are in that place right now in society where you have to do that. I was like, gosh, it's sad that I have to say that, but I'm like, hey, can I grab you for a second? It's not bad.
Yeah.
So
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about winning strategies to go from doubt to determination, because that's what we're doing on this journey. Is that when we started, you were doubting yourselves in lots of different ways. So you're still going to have plenty forever, right? We're on this lifelong journey. You're becoming more focused on the determination of what matters to you, the purpose, what you want to do, versus really that doubt of what you were afraid might happen. What's going on from that perspective?
Less focus on outcomes. So if you stay determined, the outcome is going to come with it. I have been too determined or too focused on here's what I think is going to happen. And the reality is I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables.
So there's so many. So the doubt was coming from here's what I think is going to happen. And from a professional standpoint, strategically, I need to think through those things. Like, I'm not saying you don't think through the negative.
Yeah.
But I was going from a place of doubt as to here's what I think the outcome was being, versus knowing I need to be a place of determination and knowing that I can lead and drive the people around me to the desired outcome. That's the difference.
Yeah. Knowing that all kinds of things are going to happen. You don't have control over those things. No. What you have total control over is your determination to support your team, to support whoever's around you, to learn what you need, to really make sure that you're for them in a huge way. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to say that. Like, right now in today's society, in today's world, you need to let people know that you are for them and you are here to support them, so they understand that we are all in this together. So let's talk about criticism to compassion, because so many times that critical mindset is, I'm going to fail, I'm afraid of this, to that compassion, that self-compassion, and that compassion and connection to a bigger purpose, so you can push out of it. So I've got the gift of being on the journey with you. I've known you for quite a while. We used to be really more about the criticism. Like, you would think of something, you'd have an idea, you have great ideas, and you'd go to criticizing kind of why it couldn't happen. Yep. What changed? So the biggest thing now is I spend more time thinking through the idea and really thinking through the variables and being for it. And if we're talking professional, the key is to add data and analytics behind it so you can prove your point, right?
When I'm talking about personal and relationships there and that criticism, it's like being like, if you want to express love, love shouldn't be through the form of criticism, right? And love needs to be based on, hey, I mean, take my 10-year-old. Like, great job. I'm like, great job in cleaning up her room. And instead of me going in and I can't believe you placed your pants on this dresser instead of this dresser. Does it matter?
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
So I've shifted. So a year ago, Carla, I would have been like, I can't believe you didn't put your pants in the right dresser. And then I realized, what am I doing? Like,
and is there really a right dresser, or
no.
So yeah.
No. So I went all over the place there, but I think the key is not coming from a point of, don't lead with criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Lead with compassion so that you are supporting others and they in turn support you, and then understand, do certain things really matter? Do we really need to criticize? And yes, we do sometimes. I'm not saying no, because there are criticisms and changes that need to happen, but
that's for growth, Nikki. That's
yes.
about growing versus putting a person down, making them feel bad. I mean, we got to be really intentional with the criticism component, because as many positives as we're talking, we're going to hear that criticism and everything else stops. Like, in the minute you criticize me, I'm not listening to another thing you say.
Yep. And I think if everyone could just focus on that, think about what a great place we would be in. I experienced this personally yesterday. I had a tough morning in the office, and the minute that something didn't go to plan and there was criticism, I fully admit I shut down for about an hour and a half. I was spiraling, like, how can I fix this? How can I fix this? How can I fix this? Why did I do this wrong? But I made this I made something actually really simple that I had an easy solution for. It obsessed me for 90 minutes, and we don't get those 90 minutes back.
That's right. Golden nuggets, 24 of them.
So, this is a journey. I'm still, I'm definitely, this is definitely a marathon for me. So
the gift that you're giving yourself, the great compassion, really from criticism to compassion, is you're being for you. Your self-awareness is a huge winning strategy. Just being able to be aware that, I'm taking myself down a path that's not good for me. Stop. What do I want to do that's for me? How can I connect and get some help? How can I have a joy break? How can I insert something that makes me feel good about what I'm doing versus really taking me down that rabbit hole or the noise of everything that's happening? So team, it's up to you this week. Another journey. Here we go. We've got to really find joy as we go through so much change. And Nicole, thank you for just the gift of being able to be on this journey with you, learn from you, laugh with you, be for you, and just pick up as many winning strategies that we all can use.
And thank you for being with me.
Power of team, baby. Yeah. Yep. Okay, team, it's up to you. Go out and make your week a 10-week. Be a champion for you and your well-being. And thank you for being on the journey with us.